All right, number 19, we have the first thing you have to always do. The first thing, always, in this whole entire section, you must find what? What's our first goal? The slope is right. Without the slope, you can't do anything. So the first thing we have to do is find the slope. So to find the slope of this line, the easiest way is to find points where it's crossing like a T. So right there and there. So my slope is rise over run. So I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and run 1. Then it says parallel. When we have parallel, we have the what kind of slopes? Same. So we have same slope if it's parallel. So before I even do any more, I might as well draw my parallel line. So I'm going to go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and left because I couldn't go up because I didn't have enough points. So if I go negative and negative, it makes a positive. So that's why it's still 5. Then I can connect those points and draw my arrows, and draw my line and arrows. Okay. Do you know how to find these 2 points? So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But do you see, because you have to do it when it crosses these lines, because if not, then they're half, like fractions and stuff. So you always have to go up by 1. So if you went up 0.2, you have to make sure then you're doing 0.8. So it's easier if it's whole numbers. That's why we do that. So this is our parallel lines. Now it wants an equation. So we have our slope, because that's the same as our parallel. I need this point. This point is 1, 2, 3 this way, so negative 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have a point and my slope, so I use my point slope. So I have y, this is my x, and this is my y. So I have y minus 5 is equal to my slope of 5 times x plus 3, because it's opposite. I would accept this because it doesn't say to put it into slope-intercept form. But if you need to put it in slope-intercept form, what do you guys have to do? Distribute.
5 over 1?
You could put 5 over 1, because is 5 over 1 the same as 5?
Yeah, but I just want to distribute.
Yeah. So distribute, so 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 15, or 5 times 3 is 15. Add 5 to both sides, I get y is equal to 5x plus 20. It wants the equation that goes through this point perpendicular to this line. Okay? So, the first thing is, my first question to you guys is if I have negative 3x plus 3y is equal to negative 9, how can I find the slope of this line? So what do I have to do? I have to get it into, or solve for y. So I am going to add 3x first. (3y) is equal to negative 9 plus 3x. Nope, that's not even close. Divided by 3. So y is equal to negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3, plus 3 divided by 3 is 1x. So the slope of this is what? 1. What is the slope of the original equation? Okay. Only a few of you understand what we just did. I have a question now before I tell you the answer. Is this equation and this equation the same line? Wow. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, it's written in different things, but it's the same. If I were to print my name, or if I were to cursive my name, it's the same thing, but written differently. So, why this is really important for you. This is where I think you guys aren't getting. So, if I'm just going to talk about this step so that you guys can see. And this is something that you guys have to do later on today, so you might as well walk it through with me. If I had negative 3x plus 3y equals negative 9, how can I quickly graph that? What do we do to be able to graph this line? Anybody know what we have to do to graph negative 3x plus 3y equal to negative 9? Looking at this, I should be able to graph it using my x.
Would you do negative 9 and then down 3 by 3?
Nope. You use your x and y intercepts. If you have an equation like this to graph it, you have to use your x and y intercepts. To find an x-intercept, where it hits the x-axis, you remember we cover up our y's. Negative 3 times what gives me a negative 9? And actually, does serve my... Actually, it should be all right. So we have negative 3 times what gives me a negative 9? 3. So, I agree. So we have x is 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm putting a point. My y-intercept, I cover up my x's. 3 times what gives me a negative 9? Negative 3. So, do you all agree? Let me finish this line. Hopefully you all agree that I just graphed this. Right? Now let's look at, after we put it into the y equals mx plus b. My point is right here. We have, remember, our y equals mx plus b is y is equal to 1x minus 3. I'll rewrite that so you can see it. My y-intercept is negative 3. Right? This says my slope is 1. We know for sure what these 2 points are, don't we? So, let's count them. Rise over run. I'm going up 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 over 1, 2, 3. What's 3 over 3? 1. So these two equations are the same thing. So I'm going to re-ask the question I have. This slope is 1. What is the slope of this? I want more than just a couple of people. If the slope of this is 1, what's the slope of this? 1. Because it's the same line. It's just rewritten. Alright, so that hopefully will clear up some things. Now we want to do the perpendicular to this. If my slope is 1, what is the perpendicular slope? It says flip the fraction and change the sign. So flip 1 is 1 and change the sign. So it's negative 1. So it's just negative 1. Anybody not know how I got from this one to the slope of the perpendicular? Alright. Our point was negative 1 comma negative 4. What do we have to do once we have our slope and we have a point? What do we have to do to get a line? Point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. My point slope. always x, y. So we have y plus 4 is equal to negative 1 times plus 1. Very good. We're not done because it wants it in y-intercept. What do we got to do? Matt? Distribute. And what if I didn't know what distribute means? What does that mean? I'm going to take negative 1 and, but it multiply, right? Multiply. So we have y plus 4 is equal to a negative 1x. Negative 1 times 1 is a negative 1. Lastly, Matt, what are we going to do to solve for y? Minus 4. Y equals negative x minus 5. Now, all right, first, Josh, what am I going to do first to find the slope of 3x minus 2y is equal to 12? Walk me through to finding the slope.
To get x, you 3 times 4.
So I'm to find slope, and I want everyone, if you, whoops, I got freezing. To find the slope, you have to solve for y. All right, so now that we know this, how do I solve? I want to find the slope. I have to solve for y. So how do I solve for y right here? Subtract 3x. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And you're going to walk me through this, and I'll give you this paper. So you're going to subtract 3x from both sides. Then I'm going to have negative 2y is equal to negative 3x plus 12. And then what am I going to do? Divide by negative 2. So when I divide this by negative 2, I get y is equal to, dividing this by negative 2, negative, negative, make a positive 3 halves. And divide this by a negative 2, I get minus 6. Then, so my slope of this is 3 halves. My perpendicular is negative 2/3. So after you have this, we put it into the y, and what am I going to subtract? My point was 3 comma negative 4. So I have y plus 4 equals m, which is negative 2/3 x, and then minus 3. Very good. Almost done. We have to distribute. So when we distribute, we get y plus 4 is equal to negative 2/3 x. Negative negative is positive 3. Positive 2. Lastly, how do I solve for y? Subtract 4. So y is equal to negative 2/3 x minus 2. This was a problem I made up.
Oh, good.
But you